is synonymous with one of the biggest media brands on the planet. David Zaslav.
Oh, David Zaslav.
We heard from David Zaslav.
How's David Zaslav, Discovery?
David Zaslav as well.
David Zaslav, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO. I looked at the...
Hey, I know it's been a while, but I'm back. Yes, actually back. It's been a little over a month since my last official post, which sucks because this is one of my only outlets to talk about the things that I love. And what would that be? Cartoons. Remember those? You know, the 11 to 22 minute brightly colored, overly expressive, beautifully exaggerated yet silly things that riddled our TVs every Saturday morning? If we're being completely honest, it's more like every second of every day, but I think you get the point. While there are many amazing places to find cartoons, the place that many found most comfortable just so happened to be the Cartoon Network. Debuting in 1992, there has been many decades worth of series made by dedicated artists and storytellers. Stories that have inspired many kids into adulthood, and those kids who are now adults get to share those with their kids, right? At least that's how it should be. Enter David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers, and what many consider to be the worst thing to happen to modern animation. Now, brief disclaimer. To be completely fair, Zaslav's job was to clean up an admittedly messy Warner Brothers and HBO Max streaming service. And at first, he wasn't doing such a bad job at that. And to be fair, it's not that Zaslav is evil. It isn't that he hates Warner's audience. It isn't even that he hates cartoons. It's the simple fact that he is power hungry. Well, purge hungry would probably be more of a fitting term, but let's just for a second go over a brief summary of what Zaslav has managed to controversially accomplish in his short time as CEO. He managed to cancel a movie based on the Wonder Twins that was so far into development that they had already cast the leads and hired the Black Adam writer to write the film. He made the decision to put an end to Raised by Wolves despite critical acclaim, completely scrapped the sequel to 2020 Scoob entitled Scoob 2 Holiday Hunt, despite the fact that the crew was already in post-production, crumbled up and threw out a live-action Batgirl movie that already completed shooting and brought back Michael Keaton as Batman, and of course, he was made infamous for the erasure of Coyote vs. Acme, which had already completed shooting and wrapped up.
I hate to be political, but release Coyote vs. Acme!
After the first cancellation or two, people kind of just accepted it to be business. After all, if a Wonder Twins movie most likely wasn't going to be a hit, because let's be honest, who's asking for a Wonder Twins movie?
Get out your ring.
Peter, that's not gonna happen.
Come on! Wonder Twin powers activate! Form of steam!
Peter, we got these in a box of Frankenberry.
Then what's the harm in shelving a project that hasn't even begun shooting yet? And canceling a show after 2 seasons isn't really anything out of the ordinary. It truly seemed at first that this was nothing more than a genuine way to avoid wasting money for Warner Brothers, which is what his job description is: no harm, no foul. But project after project after project after project, and it started to become evident. David Zaslav's only solution to trying to fix Warner is just to purge projects. Purge projects and do very little to improve of Warner Brothers or HBO Max as a whole, as of yet at least. But you know, to be honest, things could be worse. At least he's just picking random projects that don't seem like they have any chance of making real money. It's not like he's targeting any specific thing, right? Right? Yeah, I freaking wish that was the case, because leading up to this point, HBO Max was Warner Brothers' big selling point, the driving force behind Warner as a brand. If you wanted to see anything, and I mean anything affiliated with Warner, then HBO Max was the place to be. This included, but wasn't limited to, pretty much all of Cartoon Network's catalog. And they made sure to advertise that to us as well. They made sure that Cartoon Network fans went to HBO Max as the new home for the network. And not just Cartoon Network's cartoons, but we get new DC animated projects and more mature Cartoon Network shows labeled HBO Max Originals. And with HBO Max having the heftiest price tag out of all of the streaming services, ranging from $16.99 to $20.99, fans had little other options when it came to their animated content. And it was great at first, despite the price tag. But as time went on, many subscribers like myself started to realize something. The animated series that were used as a selling point slowly started to disappear. From OK KO Let's Be Heroes to Infinity Train, Meow Meow, Victor and Valentino, and even some so-called HBO Max originals like Close Enough and Aquaman King of Atlantis. And I know what you're thinking, well, those shows probably weren't getting watched much anyways. And first off, screw you, man. OK KO is freaking great, but it's not just these series. They removed every Ben 10 but the original. They removed Dexter's Laboratory, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Clarence, and even the first season of the Powerpuff Girls. I don't think you can convince me that no one was watching these shows. We're talking about some of the network's biggest series, just thrown into the garbage. But even if no one was watching, a move like this still makes no logistical sense. Warner Brothers owns all of these shows. They don't even have to pay for the rights of any of them. Warner isn't losing any money by simply keeping them on the streaming service. This was supposed to be the home for mostly all of Warner's content. Just look at Disney Plus, for example. There's probably no one watching Big Hero 6 the series or Crash and Bernstein. But that doesn't matter. Disney owns these series. These are shows that haven't aired in close to a decade. Disney doesn't care that nobody watches those shows. They put them up there because why not let the two fans of those shows get to watch it? You pay for Disney Plus, you get to watch all that they have to offer with very little chance of a show being removed. And I'm not holding Disney up to be heroes because trust me, they can be pretty freaking shady at times. But David Zaslav and his team decided to remove these shows, these very popular and beloved shows, just for the sake of doing it. He removed them because he could. And you, as a subscriber, just have to deal with it. And I don't think this is some grudge against animation. I think that Zaslav is just unfortunately a one-trick pony. The shareholders probably complain about Max being in debt and going over budget, yet the only solution Zaslav ever has is to cut these out completely. It's not that he hates animation. It's worse. He doesn't respect it. He doesn't care about the medium at all. And after all of that, the advertising and then the purging of cartoons, the throwing away already completed animated projects, what he did next was by far the most disrespectful, considering what came before. On August 8th of 2024, David Zaslav and Warner Brothers Discovery decided to take down Cartoon Network's website for good. No heads up, no warning, no farewell, and no goodbye. Cartoon Network's website was deleted off of the face of the internet, and the only thing that stood in its place was an ad. An advertisement for, you guessed it, HBO Max, telling you that the place to go for cartoons is no longer Cartoon Network, but HBO Max. After removing almost every animated series they had, this was the moment I decided I had to say something. Because for the first time, I'm worried. And you should be too. I'm worried that this may actually be the end of Cartoon Network as a whole. The shows are gone, the channel has a shorter airtime, the website was taken down, and Cartoon Network Studios doesn't even exist anymore. What happened? Look, it's no secret that Cartoon Network has always been third place as far as the viewership goes. But in a weird way, that's what made the network so special. They never had any inherent reason to compete directly with other networks. When it came to cartoons, they were the place to go for kids. And not just kids. There was a place to go for adults, too. The adults who wanted to work and make cartoons preferred Cartoon Network. The freedom in creating something for the sake of entertainment. Hundreds, possibly even thousands of creative minds and artists who loved nothing more than collaborating ideas with each other and finding ways to make each other laugh. Inspiring kids, no matter what environment they live in. The effort and love that these people put into their crafts is bigger than the animations themselves. Teaching kids that it's okay to just be kids. It's not just that we want Cartoon Network to continue for the sake of it continuing. Kids deserve an outlet to express themselves, and what better medium to give them than that? Do you remember being a kid? I mean, truly remember being a kid. Everything we came across so bright and vivid. Every emotion that came our way felt like an overflowing river of expression that we just didn't know how to properly handle at that age. The environment around us slowly shaping and molding us into the people we be for the rest of our lives. It's a genuine but truly fragile time to be alive. Yet we all, like every kid, latched onto something that could inspire us to move forward. Something that helped us shape our own morals. Something that opened our eyes to what we want to become when we're older. And wherever they reach the point when they're older, they can now become the ones who are helping inspire, who are making the tunes, just as the cartoonist we grew up did before.
I was glad I got to wait. I was glad we got to do 4 seasons of Dexter's and really learn how to make cartoons and tell stories and communicate characters.
We made a lot of mistakes on Dexter and a lot of good things, but that's the way, that's the way you kind of learn. And so, yeah, it was invaluable to have that experience.
You can visually experiment more in animation than you can in live action.
It's very freeing. I can do almost anything.
It all costs the same. You're just drawing it. We don't have to get stuntmen. We don't have to, get any permits. You just draw it.
You can almost extend the concept of a gag into something that is like into a whole story. The people who are laughing at your jokes are the people that are helping work on the show.
We're making it for ourselves. Like everybody on the show, we're like a fan of the show and we just like trying to make each other laugh.
It's a beanbag combined with a sleeping bag combined with a pair of socks. That way when you're camping, you don't have to get out of the sleeping bag to get a drink of water.
A lot of times it's about capturing the specific performance that you want, from a character. Even if it's slow and measured, animation can capture that performance, perfectly.
We'll empathize with the characters that they're watching in any story. So if they're laughing, you're laughing. And if they're sad, you're sad. And if they're confident, you feel great.
Zaslav won't be the end of the network, or even the end of animation for that sake. Not as long as there are creative people, young and old, who wish to keep it alive. Not as long as we stand with animation.
Let me tell you something, these companies want us to be divided. They want to pit our unions against each other. When they do that, they win. We're not going to let them do that, are we? No! When we were on strike last year, the Animation Guild was behind us. There was never a day when our picket line was more packed than when the Animation Guild joined us. You fucking stood with us. Because you did all of those provisions they said they would never give us, we fought and we won almost every single one, and you will do the same.
You're looking at a new and improved CartoonNetwork.com. Things may look a little different, but your favorite stuff is still here, and now it's even easier to find. Preview new games, see what's being played right now, and get game controls right on the page. This is awesome. Plus, tell everyone what you think. Rate your top games and videos.
Oh, I can't wait.
Watch full seasons, new episodes, and hundreds of video clips. Bigger and better.
I get that just for coming here?
It's easier than ever to find everything you want from your favorite shows. Cool. There's a whole new CartoonNetwork.com out there. Go see for yourself.